We all know that carbon pricing does work. It is evidence-based, straightforward, and effective. Not only does it drive down emissions, it really spurs innovation and encourages new low-carbon technology. It is flexible, and countries can adapt carbon pricing to fit their economies. They can use the revenues to advance initiatives that they choose. In Canada, we use the revenues to ensure that equity and fairness through payments back to households.
Canada's global carbon pricing challenge, which calls on all countries to adopt carbon pricing toward a collective goal of covering 60% of global emissions by 2030, is an ambitious and welcomed initiative to keep the momentum around carbon pricing growing. And political leadership is, of course, essential to implement carbon pricing in any jurisdiction.
Korea already put price on carbon. Therefore, we believe that carbon pricing can play a significant role in reducing emissions, in making green climate-friendly transition happen. When we introduced the carbon pricing system about 10 years ago, actually it gave very, very clear signal to the private sector, to Korean companies. Okay, so strong emission reduction efforts, you must invest in that areas. You must change your pathway for your future business. So it really brought very positive impact to Korea.
We're all here to make sure that this COP is delivering an agenda, a course correction to make sure that we achieve this reduction in emissions. And I think it means that we need to get our policies right to accelerate the transformation of our economy to net zero and lay the foundations for a new growth model. A model of growth that is not based on fossil fuels, because that we cannot sustain in the future. And we all know, I think, certainly if we listen to economists, that the number one policy tool that you need in your toolbox is carbon pricing. The economists say clearly it's a no-brainer to price pollution. What we now need to do is to expand the coverage of carbon pricing globally and also deepen the carbon pricing, the carbon markets, so that it really has an effective price. And the Global Carbon Pricing Challenge is really very welcome. We can really enhance the momentum globally with this challenge. Indeed, the EU is proud to have become a member of the challenge. In the EU, we show it works. It really works. It works ecologically, it works economically, and it works socially. If it is well done, it really can work in a very fair manner that really makes sure everyone benefits from this. We have reduced indeed emissions in the ETS sectors since 2005 by 37.5%. These are the latest figures. What is often not known is that since in the last 10 years, ETS has generated revenues of 175 billion euros, which go back to our member states for the largest part and are reinvested in industrial innovation and in social policies. It works so well that we have agreed now in the EU to expand this to other sectors like international maritime, but also road transport and the cooling and heating of buildings. And by 2027, the EU will cover with ETS 75% of its total carbon emissions. So we are keen to work in the context of the Global Carbon Pricing Challenge to expand and deepen carbon pricing across the world and help other jurisdictions in endorsing and in introducing carbon pricing. There is no one-size-fits-all. Every jurisdiction has a different situation, but if we work on the basis of common principles and common understanding, then we really can do a lot so that we reach our Paris goals.
Например, такими как установление правильных цен для балансировки между стимулированием чистых технологий и предотвращением экономических потерь для отраслей, зависимых от углерода. Как вы знаете, Казахстан является сырьевой страной. У нас достаточно и добычи нефти, и добычи угля. И это может повлиять на социально уязвимый слой населения и определенные отрасли, требующие переобучения и поддержки для адаптации к изменениям. И в завершение хотел бы сказать, что необходимо нам разработать эффективную систему мониторинга и контроля.
We've reached an important milestone in the global carbon pricing challenge. Today, this initiative is becoming the space to get countries to engage in conversations and share information on experiences, best practices, and technical support on carbon pricing. Putting a price on pollution drives change that can put us on the most effective and cost-efficient path to achieving carbon neutrality by mid-century and steer society towards a brighter and more inclusive world. I'm glad we are here to engage in these conversations today about the best way to move forward together.
I view carbon pricing as perhaps the most important tool for an effective climate policy, and it is very relevant for COP28, where we need to agree on ambitious outcomes, of course, but also stress the urgency of phasing out fossil fuels. And I am very happy that Sweden is joining this wonderful initiative by Canada, and I look forward to sharing our mistakes and our experiences to show the opportunities that can also come out of a situation such as the climate crisis.
I think if you look at the opportunities, and I think this is a challenge particularly for those that are embarking on this journey, is that the criticality of having certainty in the market outweighs most aspects. Because when you think about forestry, which is a multi-generational investment horizon, it is critically important that those people that are embarking on that journey today understand and have certainty of what that price dynamic looks like 20, 30, 40 years from now. And so that's something that we've recognised and learnt from and are very much pushing through and adopting.